We are still waiting for Premier Brad Wall. We got ahead of ourselves, of course, yesterday with Premier's picks because there was that rare Tuesday game. So everybody had to submit their picks, and it was open process. Everybody knew everybody else's picks. The Premier and Fake Gainer got out ahead of us with a couple of selections by picking Toronto. A little bit of a surprise, although it was a short week for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Gary and I went with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
What were you doing following my lead? You know I suck at this, Nye.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I was doing, but...
It's 2 weeks in a row now that the Bombers have screwed me over. I got to stop taking them.
What else is going on? You picked, let's see, last week, you went with the Montreal Alouettes, the hot mess from Premier Wall, which I imagine he will again will go with the hot mess of the week, the Montreal Alouettes. But come on. How do you go with the Montreal Alouettes?
Hey, Jamie, the hot mess was what, like 3-4-3? Those are odds way better than I've ever experienced in my life, so I have to go with that.
The hot mess has been like 1-2 so far since we started it. They got off to a great start, the BC Lions, but ever since then the hot mess has sucked.
I know it's got me at least 2 wins. Come on.
Last week, I will humbly brag that the Premier and I went 4 for 4, picking Saskatchewan, Edmonton, BC, and Calgary. I thought it was a pretty easy week. The Gopher almost got 4 for 4, but for some unknown reason, he went with the Ottawa Red Blacks to beat the Calgary Stampeders. Whoops. And Gary, of course, picked Winnipeg over Saskatchewan and Montreal to beat the Edmonton Eskimos.
And I still think Winnipeg owes me for that one, too. Not so much last night, but that Rider game, man, did they ever blow that?
They had a chance to win it, but, you can't beat that Rider defense.
That defense is probably the best offense in football right now.
John Chick, the monster beast, maybe put him on both sides of the field. Give him the ball, too. He'll run over players, and then on the other side, he'll sack the quarterback as well.
He'd make a hell of a fullback, eh? Jeez.
You missed the days of the two-way players. It is Premier's picks. We may have to go to the coin on Premier Wall.
He's on the clock, eh?
Yeah, he's starting to get on the clock. So, Gary, will get your picks out of the way before Premier Wall possibly gives us a call. He is busy. I understand it. And maybe trying to avoid us as well with the Ice Bucket Challenge. Who knows who I'm going to nominate tomorrow?
I was just going to say, Jamie, that might be a great name to throw out there. I'm pretty sure he hasn't been nominated yet.
Well, we'll see what happens in the next 24 hours. At 11 o'clock tomorrow, I get to nominate 2 more people. Suter was on my list, but Chris Cuthbert's out with the nomination for Glenn Suter. Let's start off Friday night, game 2 of this week. You need to redeem yourself. Edmonton and Ottawa.
Oh, everyone's going to take Edmonton. I won't gain any ground, but I won't embarrass myself by going with the Eskimos, even though I don't like saying those words.
Yeah, I think you have to go with the Edmonton Eskimos, although it's been a tough practice week in a monsoon rain out in Ottawa. Calgary and Hamilton.
I got to take the Stamps. Yeah, look at me. I'm learning now, right? I'm learning to go with the actual good teams instead of the ones that aren't doing so good.
No, it's not the actual good team. You're just taking West Division teams over East Division teams. Which the odds are you're going to be right. Saskatchewan, Montreal.
I know Montreal's going to be the hot mess, and I know I've been riding the hot mess, and I said I was going to do it all year. But just like I always do, I'm going to flip-flop, and I'm going to take the Riders, rightfully so.
And Toronto, BC.
Oh, yay. The short week, I got to take BC, right? It's a smart move. You're the expert. Tell me it's a smart move to take BC.
Well, you can go ahead and take BC. I'm going to take the Toronto Argonauts, and you can't change your pick.
Okay, that's fair. I'm okay with it. It's not the first time I've messed up on this show, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, absolutely. Your 12 for 28 is an indication of how well you're doing yet again on Premier's picks.
And, hey, what are you at?
Oh, I'm 500.
Oh, okay.
14 for 28. Not great. Okay. The Premier's leading the way with 16 for 28.
So I'm only 4 back still. See, I'm still comfortable there. I'm like the Blue Jays right now. I'm just laying in the weeds, getting ready to make my big move.
So you're just like the Blue Jays. Season over. Gary Nickel can mail it in for the rest of the year. Gary, we'll listen to you, of course, every game day on the Fan Zone with Scotty and the King.
Oh, yeah. The Fan Zone. Best show on earth next to everything else in the Green Zone.
So you're 4th. Congratulations.
Hey. Still, it's at least it's a place, and we're climbing the ladder. We're coming after you, Nye.
Good luck. We're chasing the Premier. down here on Premier's Picks. Literally chasing him down right now to see if he gets the picks in before the night is over here on the Green Zone on News Talk 980 CJME. Jamie Nye, Joel Gasson with you here on the Green Zone. We have fake Gainer's picks in, although he picked Ottawa and Edmonton.
I don't know if he screwed up or if he's calling for a tie, which would that be a first in Premier's Picks history if someone called for a tie?
I think someone I think Gary probably has called for a tie.
Someone smart might have called for a tie.
Someone who
knows what they're doing.
Knows what they're doing on Premier's Picks. Has Gary even come close? I don't think he's ever come close to winning this thing, ever in the history of this.
I thought he made a bit of a run last year.
Maybe 2 years ago, but I think it was a mess last year.
If he ever won this thing, we'd have to shut it down.
Yeah.
It'd be over.
It would be a sign of an apocalypse. So fake Gainer has to clarify because you can't pick Edmonton and Ottawa. They can't both win. But he does go Hamilton and Toronto. So this week he picked 4 out of the 5 games to go with East over West. If you're going with the analytics of the CFL season, that is not where you're going on predictions.
Small sample size, though. Anything can happen.
So
you'd have to imagine at some point the East, you figure it has to do something. I'm not saying I agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes fake Gainer picks more with his heart than his brain when it comes to some of the Western teams.
Still to come here on the Green Zone, we'll hear from the general manager, Jim Popp, for the Montreal Alouettes. Glenn Suter will be joining us a little later on, but now here is the Premier of the province, Premier Wall. How are you this fine Wednesday afternoon?
Jamie, I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm starting to think you're just avoiding Gary. Is that true?
So far, the plan's working. Well, it's worked 2 weeks now in a row. Well, not quite in a row, but yeah, it's something to think about, I think.
The sound in the background is the Premier and I patting ourselves on the back for perfect weeks. Each of us going 4 for 4 last week, going with all West and, of course, the Saskatchewan Roughriders over Winnipeg.
And I think off to a good start, Jamie, or who did you pick yesterday?
I picked Winnipeg.
Oh, that's a shame.
Premier Wall is actually now, including last week, he is got 8 of the last 9 games correct.
It's a rally.
What is it? NBA Jam? He's heating up. Is that what that one? What's that from? But Premier Wall, let's go back to the Rider. It wasn't that nice to see the Riders, especially the defense score for the Riders last week against Winnipeg.
What a second half! What a fourth quarter! The defense was just outstanding. That defense is a Grey Cup championship defense, and the offense is going to get rolling. And I don't know. There is lots of reason for optimism. John Chick is unblockable. Apparently, it's just amazing to watch him.
It's reminiscent of what Cam Wake was,
right?
Like 7 years ago in this league, where you double team him, triple team him, whatever you do, it ain't going to work against John Chick.
Except we don't want to lose him to the one more time to Miami or someplace like that. I think Cam Wake's still playing down there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was an All-Pro last year once again. He has been dominant from that hybrid linebacker defensive end role. Speaking of the National Football League, what do you think of our Raiders after the first preseason game? And Corey Sheets he got the ball a lot more than Weston Dressler did, but he didn't do it with a lot of efficiency.
No, and just talking to, if you watched the broadcast, it was the Raider Network broadcast, so I think we were getting sort of the inside scoop there, and boy, it did not sound like a lot of encouraging chatter for Sheets from the broadcasters. Plunkett and Tom Flores do the color, and they didn't seem to think that. They were just talking exclusively about McFadden, MJD, and who's the guy they drafted last year? Latavius Murray.
Yeah, Murray. Yep.
And that's it, and hardly a word about him. He got a couple of carries, so they talked about the Grey Cup thing, and with him listed so low in terms of depth on special teams, I don't think he's wishing well, but I don't think he's going to make the team.
Same goes for Weston Dressler, sadly enough. Nobody, even the head coach Corey Chamberlain, says he doesn't want to see any of those guys walk back into the Rider locker room because that means their NFL dream is over. But I was thinking of an idea for especially Weston Dressler if he does have to come back to the CFL. How about a live auction on TSN? All 9 teams try to get Weston Dressler services.
No, how about we pass laws in the country that the only place he can play is Saskatchewan? How about that?
Yeah, you can get the ball rolling on that one, Premier Wall.
I'll lobby the feds.
Yeah, give Stephen a call. I saw a picture on Twitter of Obama talking to the Prime Minister, so give the Prime Minister a call and maybe see what he can do.
The Dressler law. I like it.
As we let's get to the picks this week. You were correct, of course. Toronto beating Winnipeg, so 1-for-1 this week. Coming up next Friday, the Edmonton Eskimos against the Ottawa Redblacks in the nation's capital.
Yeah, I like the Eskimos for that one. Who did Gary pick?
Gary picked Edmonton.
Okay, yep, he was right there.
Calgary against Hamilton.
Yeah, I like the Stamps.
Although
Who did Gary pick?
Gary also picked Calgary.
Okay.
So he's starting to get this whole West dominating the East thing. I think he's just starting to read the headlines and doing some research.
It's week 7.
Yeah,
or whatever it is, like 7th game, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
He may be a slow learner, but at least he's learning.
That's right.
Saskatchewan against, of course, coming to town, the Montreal. And by the way, are the Montreal Alouettes the hot mess of the week?
Absolutely. And I think, are they starting Brink? Is that his name?
A possible 2-quarterback system with Alex Brink starting.
Yeah, I like the Riders. I like them by, I think, quite a chunk.
It could be.
What do you think the point spread will be? I think the defense. I mean, I think their O-line struggled too in Montreal. So this should be. I mean, the Riders got a great coaching staff, so they're not going to overlook a game. The so-called trap game. But if there was ever a setup for one, this is it, because their O-line struggles against obviously the best defensive line in the league with Chicken Foley on the edge and Terrius George and the guys they got in the middle. I don't know. I like that matchup.
I may pick a shutout. I was thinking 45-0. That is the number that keeps popping into my head right now for a prediction of this game.
Are they wearing the new jerseys?
Yes. Yeah. What do you think? Fashionista Brad Wall, what do you think of the new jerseys?
Yeah, I don't know. The jerseys may be growing on me a little bit. The helmets are... What if we would have had matte black helmets and just that logo with a bit more lime in it? I don't know. We talked about it last week. My favorite uniform will always be that retro, either home or away. But I like the retro jersey. But we'll see how it looks like in person. I guess it won't be there, but on TV.
And on finally
what did you think, Jamie?
I like them. Something new, something different, something fresh.
Oh, really? What did Gary think?
Oh, Gary loves anything. I think that's not just a bland, normal jersey. He's a fan of the Oregon Ducks jerseys, so he'll love them. Yeah. And the final pick of the week, the BC Lions taking on the Toronto Argonauts out east on a short week for the Argos.
Yeah, I like the Argos. I like them to go back, have 2 in a row here. Their secondary's looking a lot better than it has for a long time. I'm going to take the Argos.
There is Premier's picks for Week 8 in the CFL. Premier Wall will do it again next week.
Thanks, Jamie. Take care.
There is Premier Wall and his picks as he's going with Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan, and the Argos to win 2 games in 1 week on a quirky week in the CFL schedule.